Car's back together, it's back on the ground. I'm gonna clean up my tools and my fan, wash my nasty hands. I'm gonna drive around the block and I'll show you how to seat these pads. What's up, everybody? We're back out here today working on the 2012 Nissan Maxima. We did front brakes last week. Today we're going to do the rear brakes. They were making a little bit of noise last week and it has gotten progressively worse. So I'm going to show you how to do this. This video I should have done a long time ago because I used to have one of these cars and I did a whole bunch of work to it and didn't document it because I was like, oh, people know how to change brakes on this specific car, but some of you all don't. That's why you're here watching this video. So the first step you're going to do is get the car in the air, okay? You can go with your floor jack. It's right there between the exhaust on the rear subframe. I'm going to put jack stands there and there. Give you a little bit of advice. If you're going to use power tools, you can jack the car up and then take the wheel off. If you're not going to use power tools, break the lug nuts loose by hand first, or you can set the e-brake that will hold the wheel. But the problem with setting the e-brake is you'll forget to take it loose and then you won't be able to get the caliper, rotors, whatever off. So get the car in the air, so we'll throw some jack stands on it, we'll get this wheel off, get the pads out, everything else. In case you were wondering, the best value bang for your buck brake pads I have found for this vehicle are the Napa StopRite SR905. They're like 29 bucks, and then you get like a 20% off coupon if you order them online. So 30 bucks give or take. So hopefully the rotors aren't shot, but like I said, I've got it up in the air and we'll throw jack stand under it and I'll get that wheel off and we'll go from there. So, there's only 4 lug nuts on here. Cool. I'll see if I've got another one. And so if the wheel is stuck, here's what you can do. Take a little bit. Something like PB Blaster or WD-40 liquid wrench or whatever, and you can spray it on the hub. That will help get in there. You can also spray it in here. Kind of give it a spin. Okay, and then what else you can do? What I recommend doing, hit the tire. Try and hit the tire, not the wheel as much. If it gets real bad, you can take like a rubber mallet and hit the face of the wheel, like right here. Hitting the tire doesn't do it. What that does is like the vibrations will get in there and knock that corrosion loose. But most times you can literally just try not to get under the car, but like ta-da. And what you can do too is like hit it, spin it, hit it, spin it, hit it, spin it. But then it will come loose. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and go over to the other side and spray a little bit of PB Blaster on it. That way it can be soaking in the polymer. Make sure when you were using PB Blaster, try to get it only on this part of the rotor, not out here, okay? So step 2 will be, obviously, to get the caliper loose. If you're just doing pads, it should be like a 14, I think. Yep, 2 14s. You'll have one here and one here. If you were doing rotors as well, those are a 17, 19. You have 2 19s. You'll have one here and one right there. My advice is, if you're going to do rotors, PB Blaster liquid penetrating, spray it on there. That way while you're taking the pads and stuff loose, it can work loose in there. So we'll get this caliper loose. That's all we're doing today. My suggestion is, when you do this, break the top one loose, then get the bottom one loose, because you don't want to take the top one out and try and break the bottom one loose, because the caliper might do this. The other thing you run into here is I can't get a socket between there, so I'm going to get a ratcheting box end and do that. Oh, that one's on there good. Okay, what I did, start out with a non-ratcheting, because you don't want to bust the gears. Then switch to a ratcheting. Okay, pull these out. These pads are going to be bad, I can already tell. Okay, pull out. This is weird. That arm is stopping me from getting this bolt out. So what I may have to do is articulate this arm with a jack somehow, and make this go up, and that might let that clear. I'll figure it out. Alright, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to leave that slider in there and grease it like that. Okay, if you want to, you can try and get another jack and articulate this, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to leave it in there and grease it like this, and then probably I will pull that up and grease it down here and put it back in. But I'm going to grab a C-clamp, and I'm going to compress that caliper, and we will go from there. That should be easy. Yeah, these were shot. If you've never done this with a C-clamp, all you do is take your old pad, put it here, clamp here and here. Try and stay off of the line if you can. Notice I'm directly inside of it. Switch is going to put you off center, so you'll need to hold it and then just pay attention. So don't get on the line unless you have to. And it is clamped in. I had to go to the line, I hate to, but where it was off center, it wasn't letting it do it. It is compressed. Take your old brake pad, chuck it in the box. Now, the new brake pads did not come with new hardware. Hardware are these guys. So what I'm going to do, also pay attention, only one of these has a screamer bar, so I'm going to put it on the driver's side, because closer to the driver you can hear it hopefully. So what I'm going to do is put anywhere metal meets metal, put a little bit of grease. So what I'll do is I'll put a blob here, rub it around, take it off, put it on top side. Normally what I will do is I'll put a big blob in one place and then kind of use that to do kind of everything else, like wipe the excess off. Now if you were going to replace the hardware, these, I would put grease here, here, and through here, anywhere metal meets. Okay? So, and then what else I will do is I'll put a little bit on the ears themselves. You can use wheel bearing grease, high temperature wheel bearing grease, where people do that. This is ultra disc brake caliper lube. You can get it in Advance, Auto, wherever. This will be the same for the sliders. Like I said, you can either grease it there or put it on the ears. Some people do both. Normally I'll put a little dab on the ears. This is what I'm calling the ear. That's mainly where most of it is. Some people put it on the back too. Some people put it all the way around. It's just personal choice. I always just put it on the metal guides and on the ears. So, screamer bar on the inside. Okay. Okay, another brake pad. Okay, now do not forget to grease your sliders. Okay. I don't go super heavy because a lot of it is going to come off on the boot when you put this back in. But what I will do is I'll put a little bit on the end, that way when it goes in, it'll smush out around it. Now then, this other one, like I said, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grease it here and then spread it around with my finger. That way when it goes back in, it will be greased, okay? And then what else you can do is when you put it in, you can spin it a little bit, and as you're spinning it, tightening it down, it will spread that grease out. So, pads are on. Pivot this back up, like such. Okay. Take your caliper here, caliper bolt, slide it in. As you can see here, like I said, some of it will come off as you're putting it in, some of it will come off as you're tightening the caliper out. Bolt down, so you can see it there too. Another thing to do is make sure it is hooked. There is a lip. You can see here, this one is not over that lip, so you'll need to pull it down a little bit on the bottom. If I could have got this out like I did the one up here, this would be so much better. Okay, that one is sealed. Okay, get the bottom one sealed. There we go. Sweet. This one on the bottom is wanting to fight me, tooth and nail. There we go. Got it. Okay, this side's done. Jam the wheel back on. Slide over to the other side. I'm going to tighten these down first. Get snug. Okay. Seems like every time I do brakes in the driveway, it rains. Okay, this side is done. So we'll stick this wheel back on, jam over to the other side, and we'll be done. No longer, right? A little bit of advice when you're putting the lug nuts on, what I do, take one on the bottom. If you do one on the bottom first, like this, it will hold the wheel. And keep it from wanting to kick out on you. And make it flush. See what I'm saying? So start with the bottom one. What I will do is get these all started by hand. All four of them. I recommend always start lug nuts by hand before you hammer them on with an impact. That's what I'm doing. do, impact, real slow. Just kind of get them all seated. Okay. I'm just barely pulling the trigger. And then I'll hit them a little bit harder. Okay, this side is done. Like I said, there was only 4 lug nuts on here when I got here. I'm going to recommend to her that she replace this rotor soon. So that may be included on the end of this video or the next side of the video. I'm going to slide over the other side, jerk the wheel off, and we'll go from there. Car's back together, it's back on the ground. I'm going to clean up my tools and my fan, wash my nasty hands. I'm going to drive around the block and I'll show you how to seat these pads. So let's go seat these brake pads in, which is super simple. People tell you it's crazy, and then when I come back, I'll check the lug nuts again. I always recommend tighten them down in the air, tighten them down when you get them on the ground, and then tighten them down after you seat the pads. Wow. So I'm going to give you a bit of advice that I picked up the hard way. When you first do your brake pads and you get in the car, start the car and pump the pedal till you get brake pedal back, till it feels normal. I was doing brakes one time, and for some reason I was in a hurry, got everything put back together. I was like, okay, I'm gonna go seat these. Got in the car, jammed it in drive, went heading towards the road out of the driveway, and when I would push the brake, it just went all the way to the floor. So I had to like panic pump it like 4 or 5 times to get brakes back, or else I would have shot out of Mama Steve's driveway right over the hill. So pump your brake pedal till you get pedal feel, okay? So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna seat these pads in. So what I recommend you do, especially if you're like me and you live in a neighborhood or somewhere that has some stop signs. Each manufacturer tells you to do a different way. Anybody you talk to will tell you to do a different way. Power Stops had to do this 30 times, and I'm not spending like 2 days seating in my pads. What I do, 5 times, get up to about 30 miles an hour. Okay, get up to about 30. Like such. Of course, I've got somebody behind me, and hit the brakes and just come to a real slow, don't like stomp the brakes, but just kind of let them like drag a little. Okay, don't come to a complete stop, come to like a very slow roll. Get up to about 30 again. Do it again. Like I said, try not to come to a complete stop. Okay, like that, then get up. Okay, now, there is a stop sign here, so I will have to come to a complete stop. Okay, so this is 3. Like I said, real easy on them. Okay, signal. Okay, that's 3. Go to this stop sign, will be 4. Okay, signal. Hang-a-loo. Okay, we'll go down to the end of this road. Okay. So there's technically 5 because I just had to stop. So we'll get like 6 or 7 in. Okay, keep rolling. Plus the point of keeping rolling is it keeps air moving over the rotors and pads, helps them cool down. We'll go down here. There's a little bit more. Okay, signal. You notice I'm not stomping the brakes, I'm just real gently, light, steady pressure. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll pull up here. I'm going to come to a complete stop, stop, pull. Pads are seated. Now what I recommend you do is once you do that, you pull back in the driveway and give them 10-15 minutes, let them cool off. While I'm letting them cool off, I'm going to check the torque on the wheels again, and we'll be set. I didn't notice any shaking or vibration from the rotors. They did have some grooves in them, but it's nothing like bad. So I'm going to recommend next time they do pads, definitely do rotors. That's all there is. So we've now done front and rear pads on this car. Probably next video will be rotors if I do any more work on this or an oil change. But that's all there is. This was an easy one. The only problem was that one bottom slider bolt, which if you took the whole bracket loose 217s, you could get around that. So if you're doing rotors, it'd be easier to do. If I was going to do it again and I wasn't trying to beat the rain, I would have done that. Just pulled the whole bracket and rotor, bracket and caliper. That's all there is. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Share this video if you feel real friendly. Appreciate it.